Hello, everyone. We are on our countdown for going completely live and presenting our guest, Julie Cameron, who is going to join us. I'm the executive director of Armbrae Academy. And tonight we're going to, executive director of admissions and advancement. And tonight we're going to talk about homestay families, what it takes to be a homestay family, and what are some of the questions that families may want to find out about when they're considering being a homestay family. It is a very rewarding opportunity to bring someone from an international destination into your home, especially a student. Um, but there always are some questions around, how long the students stay with you. Do they stay the whole time that they're studying abroad? Do they uh, do they stay for holidays? Do they go back home? These are a lot of the questions. This is preparation. Excellent. So yes, I think one of the questions, I had a friend of mine who was a homestay parent, and one of the questions that she had before she actually participated in our program. Hey, Julie.
Hi, Suze. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep. How does this sound there, Yushwen? Good. Yeah, we have we're live in some places like YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, but we're not actually going to go with the programming until 6 p.m. Oh, excellent. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
How many
But
kids,
yeah,
Suzanne, did you have registered?
we didn't do a registration. Basically, what we did was we'll get people as they come into the as they join us. We'll get their information. And then we just sent it out today to families. So hopefully we'll get some families. Now we went live yesterday, just kind of in a promo, and we had a few people join us, but we'll be able to have this on tape also, so we can send it to people if they're interested.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah. So how are things going?
Yeah, good. We had contracts returned today from CLLC. That's our Turkish group. The gentleman Ali that's opening the school, but also Stefan and Emily are very excited about being able to work with Armbrae again. They're lovely. So they were starting things back up. Our Ugandan agent, Robert Wagubi, is back and excited. I'm just waiting for the date with his person. And then I spoke with John Chan from Street Smart. We're just setting up a presentation day, but I had a good meeting with him yesterday, so that was great. I've got an agent in Ghana who I met with last year who's coming back. We're doing a presentation with her next week. And then Roberto Cardamone, somebody I've known for a long, long time, fantastic agent out of Merida in Mexico. He is signing up for a presentation. So it's moving.
Wow,
It's good.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I'm really happy about who I think are kind of our portfolio of agents, like the people that I know, the quality of their kids, who they have, all of those things. So it's going really well. I think we get this done, we get our accreditation. I spoke with Case, I met with them. I have learned that to join the CBC, so ultimately we have the accreditation, we'd actually have to pay to join them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is a fee, and then of course part of it is marketing. But I'm going to talk to Allison regardless. She knows me really well. We've known each other a long time. She will coordinate with agents with as an option as well. But that is the main differential. I said, well, you took GNS in when they were just homestay. And Luke's like, I think that was before my time, Julie. I said, I think it was, but you took them. They
Yeah.
have a boarding facility now, but at the time they
Okay.
didn't. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But things are going well, really well.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. How about you? You got 2 new apps?
Yep. Yep.
Good.
So we're,
Nice.
I haven't heard back. We had meetings today and, yeah, I mean, it was very busy day because everybody's slowly getting back into the office. And yeah, it was it's a very, it's so humid here, Julie. It is unbelievable. The curly hair is,
Suze, you look fantastic.
I'm trying to, I was, I just, I have, this is the worst hair uh days that you can imagine because it's been misty, it's been humid, it's been but it's very usual for this time of year.
We got a ton of rain here all through the night last night again. And I think it's coming your way.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had we did a great podcast with Round Square a couple of days ago,
Nice.
and it was it was really the Rachel, it was in the UK, and just, again, talking about the ideals of Around Square School,
Mm-hmm.
and how schools incorporate them, and they have this concept of postcards where kids get on Zoom and they talk to schools all over the world, and they work on problems. So, sustainability, and they get ideas from each
Nice.
other. And she said it's quite impactful because the kids, get to see what it's like in another part of the world, what sustainability looks like there. So that was really cool. I have another podcast with a past Armbrae parent who is is working on an app on wellness and mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and has had success bringing it to athletics, but now is looking at human resources and students. So just talking a little bit about that. So I think we're getting you know we're getting good feedback on this. So it's just another opportunity for us to do outreach, which is kind of free.
And so much, Suzanne, is like looking very positive for your region as far as growth and good
Yeah,
jobs and all kinds of things tied to, local and federal government, which I think is fantastic. So
yeah, yeah.
my
I mean,
apologies.
I think we got a little stay on the tariffs.
I think so too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so too. Thank God. It's sounding positive. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Doug Ford is happy here in Ontario with his auto industry.
yeah. I mean, it's a day to day type of situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's yeah, I was, I've been talking to families, in my neighborhood about, the cost of living, and it's a lot for a lot of people. Back to school really is kind of,
Hmm.
that's where you really see it's jarring because, school supplies is at an all-time high. Um, I think we've been very fortunate because last year we started with the $75 school supply fee,
Hmm.
and so we buy the school supplies for all the kids, and I think that's great because we get a good deal from the provider, and
Amazing. That's
yeah,
great, Suze.
yeah, yeah, and then
Wow.
people don't have to, there's a sustainability side to it too, because people don't have to go out and drive
Hmm.
around to a whole bunch of places, but, I mean, on the cost side, it's huge, and what's really nice too is, uh, Miss Gonacher and, Miss Stoyanovich and, Miss Burt have worked together to try to decrease the amount of stuff that kids need because I think, for years people would go out and buy all this stuff and they really don't need that much stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and in the older grades, where they're using their laptops in the high school, they hardly need, anything at all. So,
I've got a question for you about laptops. So, so at Ridley, we were very specific on what type of laptop, everything from memory, etc. And it was a
mhm.
MacBook school. Do you
Mhm.
guys mandate a specific type of laptop, or you're just integrating and ghosting programs?
No, yeah, it's integrated.
Hmm.
Mr. Rylander has suggested on the parent portal, he suggests a certain type of Chromebook
Hmm.
that has worked really well for
Hmm.
kids. Like just over the years, we've kind of gotten experience on what type of technology they need. But that being said, if someone has a Apple device, like a laptop at home,
Hmm.
that's fine too. It's just that the Chromebook is inexpensive and it's pretty, it stands the test of time.
Great.
Um, I can honestly say my son, if a Chromebook can survive him,
Zeus.
it's a good thing
Uh,
because he gives it a run for its money.
that's funny.
Hmm. But yeah, I mean it. Oh, okay,
Yeah, so many are common in the platform. I will show you in
okay,
that screen.
okay,
But
perfect.
when you see it, please
Okay,
reply them.
can you tell me what time it is? Or?
No, 50. 550.
Oh, 5:50. Okay, great. Um, Let me think of what else we're doing here on campus. We're wrapping up camps. And so that will happen in the next 2 weeks. So we have 2 more weeks of
Mhm.
camps. And then and I'm really excited to get that international camp. I'm going to bring that up tomorrow at
For
our
summer
meeting.
programs, you mean, for
Yeah,
next year? Yep.
yeah.
Hmm.
I think if we can make, a program that is, and again, I don't want to, complicate it. I just want to make it very simple. If we can get something that has an EAL component, a sport component, and
Hmm.
maybe an arts component,
Hmm.
and then try to get domestic and international kids, I think that would be really incredible. And as I said, we have facilities here that we weren't using this summer, so it would be nice to have um, access to that, let them have those facilities. So, and I think it would be great.
So I'm happy. I've had lots of summer program
Yes.
experience over the years, but thank you, Suzanne. What's he doing? I'm happy to
I
join
think,
any conversation,
yes,
Suze, on
please, Julie.
what might be possible,
Yeah.
what's worked. I will say, Suze, that this sounds terrible, but Ridley's summer camps literally for the better part of 7 years struggled mightily, didn't make money, didn't whatever.
Yeah.
And then they hired an incredible woman who put this program on steroids. And now,
Mm,
they're making $1 million on it.
yes.
So it just, that's key to who will run it. But I think there's certain programs that are really catching people's attention now for kids, whether they're day kids and or boarding.
Yeah.
And then if we have the ability to partner with one of the universities as far as residents and oversight
Yeah.
for these kids, it'd be
Right.
fantastic, especially if you can
Yeah.
bring in kids for Osprey basketball, all those sorts of
I
things.
know. I
So
know. I know. I
it'd be
think,
great.
yeah, I would really, I think that's really great. Yeah. The more I think advice that we get on this, I think the better it will be because I think, you know, it is true. It could be, it could grow into something that's really helpful to us, for, the tuition or, for
Hmm.
enrollment in the future, but also, just to give our kids, that experience to have international relations in, a short period of time.
It's a feeder, Suze, for your mainline product too. So you will get kids who will come. to summer programs to start, and then they turn into students. Like, we really focus on those kids when they're there, as well, and present mainline full year options for them too, to consider coming
Yeah.
back. So it does work well. I know what doesn't work well. I've seen that.
Yeah.
You want to avoid those pitfalls.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting ready to go.
Okay.
What time? 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes to go. We'll start right at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
We have people coming in right now. So we're as soon as people start coming in, we'll get ready to go.
Okay. Sounds good, Suze.
Yep. Yep.
And you, just to confirm, don't hang up when we finish. Are you going to sign people out, or what would you, Shwen, like
Yeah,
us to do?
I think what I'll do is we'll see if we have any questions
Mhm.
at the end, and if not, then we'll just sign off and
Okay.
just stay so we can record it. That's just yours will probably be very quick to upload.
Okay.
So
I'll stay on until you tell me otherwise.
yes, okay. Yes, yeah.
I can stop the line.
Okay.
Now it's public.
Right,
No,
exactly. That's
conversation.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Thank you, Yushwen. It's so kind of you
Yeah,
to put
I
this
gotta
together.
say, Yushwen, he's been doing a great job.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we're having fun, so that's good. And yeah, we got a great space, but we're getting the boot. So the school counselor is moving into this space, so we're going to head down. We actually they told me today that we might be able to get a space permanently at Coburg.
Yeah.
So that might be where we go.
Yes.
But
Nice.
we have to move out of here by Friday.
2 new people come to
Okay.
Facebook.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We've got people coming in on Facebook and people coming in on Instagram. Just want to remind people that we are talking about homestay, becoming a homestay family, and what it takes to become a homestay family, and all the questions that people have. Julie is going to answer this evening. One of the things that I think a lot of times comes up is, I don't really want to ask the questions because is that going to mean that I have to commit? And so tonight is a really great opportunity to have these conversations and to hear the questions. We have, oh, hello, Stuart. Hi, Stuart. We have one of our Armbrae families, Mr. Lawley, who is joining us right now. So thank you very much, Stuart. If you are interested in homestay families, this is where we're going to give all the information tonight. We want to start right at 6 o'clock, and we have a few minutes left, and we don't want to start until we get as many people in here as possible. Well, we will start at 6 sharp. One of the things that I think, again, like I said, most people, when they're considering being a homestay family, they have questions about, where are the students coming from? How long are they going to stay? What is my commitment? Is there remuneration for participating in the program? What are some of the qualifications that go into being a vetted homestay family? And Julie's going to tell us, answer a lot of these questions tonight. We are really happy that we have a partnership with ISGC, who is helping us with our homestay program, a trusted homestay provider, working with homestay parents all across Canada for years. Julie, you have worked with them in the past. And they are going to be looking after a lot of the coordination of our homestay program. And, again, you'll be able to speak to this a little bit, Julie, but the visa process is it's a lot. So it is nice to have somebody who knows what they're doing and can help our families, our international families, not only with the process of coming here, but also when they get here, providing that homestay. Do you think we can get started, Yushwen?
think so.
Yeah, let's.
Now it's
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Well, I'll start, and then when we hopefully we can just reiterate what we're doing
Yeah.
when people are joining
People
us.
that help people.
Yeah,
to
so
connect.
if you want to connect, there's a number down here. You can give me a call if you're interested in homestay, and you can call me. This is a WhatsApp phone number, and then we can connect you with ISGC, and you can go from there, and you can have I can answer any questions. I can put you in touch with Julie. I can put you in touch with ISGC, and they can answer any additional questions that you may have. I just want to say welcome, everyone, to this information session on homestay opportunities. I am Suzanne Morrison. I'm the Executive Director of Advancement and Admissions at Armbrae Academy. And I'm really excited to be talking about homestay, interest in homestay from families who are Armbrae families, but also in our community. And I have to thank Julie for coming tonight, but also Yushwen for setting this all up. Yushwen is our summer student, and he has been an unbelievable resource for us this summer. And we're really happy that we can do this information session tonight. Julie Cameron is our trusted advisor. She is helping us with so many things, but international recruitment, our homestay program. It's really a pleasure to have you here today, Julie. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate it very much. Hello, everyone.
So let's get right to it, Julie. One of the questions that I had a friend who just recently I was talking to, and I was telling her about our homestay program, and she, her concern was that you would have really young children in your home.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, 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 no. So tell us a little bit about the age group that would be coming to Halifax and looking to stay in the homestay program.
Yep. Thanks so much, Suzanne. So good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you. I have worked in international recruitment for over 20 years. Certainly with thousands of international kids, and so it's honestly a pleasure to be able to have this conversation and help work with Suzanne, the admissions team, Yushwen, regarding everything that's going to happen as we integrate this international student homestay family boarding program, as we call it, in the next year. So we're very excited about all of that, but a lot goes into it. And so this is part of it as we talk about, some of the things that will occur and could occur for you as you consider the option of becoming a host family. So to Suzanne's question, I can tell you that the children that we will be looking to bring to Armbrae would be entering as young as grade 8. So that would be the youngest threshold in which we would take a child. A lot of times kids coming out of Mexico will either come in their grade 8 year or the grade 10 year. Very, very common culturally. And then we will have students with us, youngest, as I said, from grade 8 all the way through to grade 12, and potentially even a postgraduate program, pathway program. But the ages of those grades, just sort of aligning with the Canadian system, would be 13, 14 years of age, our youngest homestay students, and then all the way up to 18 years of age would be the maximum we would be handling as far as integration into the International Day program.
That's great. And Julie, we've had homestay, we've had international students come to Armbrae over the years, and they've come from, various different countries. But can you give us an idea of some of the countries that we're working with, that we have relationships with, and that we're, targeting as far as bringing those students to Armbrae?
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. So certainly we're looking for diversity. We don't want to have over representation from any particular region or area. And so that's critically important to us. And we're also not looking for massive numbers. Like, we're just looking to have a very sustained program, and bring kids from all around the globe. So we are fortunate in that we do have very long-standing relationships with a lot of the agents. For example, we could see students coming from as far as the continent of Africa. So it could be Nigeria, Uganda, Ghana, Rwanda. Latin America, we have students we're working with right now who potentially coming from Brazil. We have students from Mexico, Germany. We have students from Turkey is another region that's showing a lot of interest. Mexico, Germany. So again, for us, really important to have that diversification. But certainly the educational consultants that we are working with, long-standing, very reputable agencies. And so we're trying to find the best kids that we can internationally to join the Armbrae community.
And Julie, like, what is the main reason that an international student is considering coming to Canada? I mean, I know why I would come to Canada. I'd love Canada, but why?
Yeah.
What is the driver of international students?
Sure. I mean, without a doubt, Canada has an incredible reputation, and people want to come to Canada. They'd love the ability to be able to not only enter into independent schools, but a lot of those students are really also looking for a pathway to continue into Canadian universities. Some, many of the kids I've worked with over the years actually now work in Canada. They've become permanent residents in Canada. So Canada is a very desired country to come and study. The Canadian education is so strong. Halifax, what a beautiful community and region for students to experience. So I want to say, Canada, no matter where you go globally, Canada remains to have a very strong reputation for students to want to be educated here. Some students want to come here, they're studying EAL, that's their beginning process. But again, just so many offerings in a country like ours, and we truly are. It's a privilege to be here, and those students see it as such, and that's why they research Canada.
And I think it's really, I remember when my son Hogan was attending Armbrae, there was a student who was visiting or who was coming from Germany and one from France. And the German student was a homestay family, was staying with a homestay family, and the French family came as a family. But the experience for my kid was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, having, international students come to your school is such a wonderful and rewarding experience for our students and vice versa. Yeah. So the other question I think is really important is, how long does a student stay? Does a student stay for 1 year and then go back home and then go back to their school? Does a student stay for the full 4 years if they were coming here for 4 years? How does that work?
So it really varies. As you mentioned earlier, we work with ISGC, International Student Guardianship Canada. This overseer of the our homestay program, they've been doing this for over 20 years. And so depending on the culture, depending on the agencies we work with, some of our students might only be coming, for example, in September 2027, and they'll leave, they'll do a short term, like a summer program, their summer program, until December.
Right.
So that would be Latin American kids. We might have other students, for example, who'd be looking to join us and wanting a host family for January 2027. And then they would finish in June 2027. And then we'd have other students who would look to join us in September 2027 and do the full school year. And they could be looking to come back year after year until graduation. What I do want to say is, for homestay families going, well, I might want to commit for a year, but I don't know if I want 3 years. And fair enough, like truly, it's an engagement every single year. You might just, fall in love with this child and say, they're part of our family. I've had that with a homestay child from Mexico. And all I can say is, that's a check-in every single year. But please know, as you investigate it further, there's different timeframes in which you can be a homestay family. But it can be short, can be longer. It really just depends on the child, the agency, and where they're coming from.
That's a really good point, because I think for some people, maybe having that trial run with a short
Mhm.
stay,
Yeah.
maybe how they kind of approach this.
Mhm.
I do remember, and I was telling Yushwen this the other day. We have a family who's still an Armbrae family. They have a son who's graduating this year coming, and they had a homestay student from China who stayed with them for 4 years,
Yeah.
and really became a part of their family. They went to her university graduation. They still keep in
Mhm.
touch. So again, it does vary. You might find
Mhm.
that connection, and you're like, this is another child in our family.
It's so
So
true.
yeah, the fact that you can have that option, I think, is
Mhm.
really important.
Sure.
Um, just want to remember to say hello to everyone who's just joined us. We're talking about International Homestay Program. We have 4 people who just joined us, so thank you very much for joining us this evening. We're talking to Julie Cameron, who is our senior advisor on our international recruitment and our homestay program and everything in between. And Julie is answering questions today about the homestay program that
Mhm.
Armbrae is launching. We did this a few years ago, then COVID happened, and now we're back at it. We really see the value in international students coming to our community, and we think providing them with a homestay family is really important. So
Mhm.
thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We talked a little bit about ISGC, who is our partner in our homestay program. Julie, if you can just give us a little information about ISGC
Mhm.
and how they go about vetting the families.
Yeah, thank you. There is absolutely a vetting process attached to identifying yourself as wanting to be a homestay family. And so, what I will say is that if you had decided that you were considering hosting one of our international day students, you would then you'd contact Suzanne at Armbrae, and then you're going to complete the the ISGC homestay form. They're then going to be in touch with you. They're going to talk to you a little bit about your home. They're going to go over things like, the child must have a single bedroom. You must have Wi-Fi, meal requirements, all of those sorts of things will be covered. You will have to go through a police background check, vulnerable sector check. There's a fire safety checklist that they will go through with you. So please know that the individuals that head up this program, the International Student Guardianship Canada, they have been doing this for 20 years. I have known them for that long. They are so professional, so thorough. You really have a partner in this. So, you may think, well, I'm hosting this child, and all of a sudden, they're not feeling well. And you have a concern, they have medical insurance, then you have a follow-up question the next day. This is really done in tandem. So Suzanne had mentioned, the program happened maybe a couple of years ago at Armbrae. I want to say this particular program, we really have put and integrated the systems in place, mitigating risk, ensuring that all of our families understand their commitment, and what is expected to host this child and give them the best possible experience, not only in your home, but in the Armbrae community and the greater Halifax area as well.
Yeah, I think that that's really important because, having talked to ISGC several times, I
Mhm.
really felt um, the confidence I have now in our homestay program is 100%. And I think families will really appreciate the fact that these resources are there for them, and
Mhm.
also the resources, the comfort to the family who's sending their child abroad,
Sure.
that this is a really, the processes are in place. And of
Mhm.
course, as our program expanded, as homestays now have opened up again, our case accreditation and our NEASC accreditation, all these standards are in place, and it's very important that they are, because we want the families to feel comfortable, and we want the student to feel comfortable. So
Mhm.
that's great. Um, The other question I had was, what's the onboarding like for the families? How would they, what's the process for onboarding?
Mhm. So Suzanne, the first thing, once the family has indicated their interest, they're vetted, they're now going to be a homestay family. What will then occur is that we will, ISGC, Armbrae will then, there'll be a conversation with the host family. If they happen to be an Armbrae family, that's great. If they're a local
Yep.
family, also just fine. What's going to happen is that there is a profile set up for every homestay family. And then we're going to be working with our international students, vetting them, offering acceptance, doing all those sorts of things that we typically do in the admissions process. And then there will be a pairing or a matching. And so let me give you an example. Perhaps an Armbrae family has a grade 10 girl that attends the school. They might say, if you happen to have a grade 10 girl, from Mexico, would be very likely. We think that would be a great fit. And so really it's like it's a placement that takes place and says, listen, we have this child, or perhaps you even have a family that says, we have 2 bedrooms. We'd really like to have 2 international kids. Is that possible?
Right.
So again, we'll go through all of that with you. There is a full onboarding process. You get the background of the child. What do their parents do? What do the family do? What type of student are they? All of those sorts of things. So that does take place. And then when the child's actually placed in the family, there are ongoing check-ins that happen with the family. How are things going? Any concerns? All those sorts of things. What's going well? So again, very, very reputable, very well done across Canada, and really successful program. So we look forward to having it at Armbrae for sure.
Yeah, I think I know, Julie, you've had lots of experience on this, but one of the things that just going through our case standard 8 and just reading all the information that ISGC had provided to us for case was really, I couldn't believe it. It was like it was so comprehensive. So I think anybody who's considering being a homestay family could rest assured that ISGC is an incredible partner, and they're there for the family and the student. Just want to say hi to so many people joining us right now. Yeah, yeah. So we're really happy to have as many people as possible coming to consider a homestay experience. Julie, why do families, again, what are some of the benefits to a homestay family? I know when I was a kid, I did a exchange in Quebec, and there was so many benefits to going to live with a family for a period of time. There was one big benefit to me. I missed my home so much, but it was kind of an awakening to me to say, wow, I really have an incredible family at home. But also, I just learned so much culture from my family that
Mhm.
I was living with. So, can you tell me a
Mhm.
little bit about your experiences with families that have done this, and what are some of the benefits?
Yeah. Listen, I think there's benefits on all sides. I truly do. I will say that, having your family experience, an international student's culture, is so much fun. And it's just so great getting to know each other. They're learning things about Canada. We're learning things about maybe a student from Mexico. I remember my homestay child that I had, who was just so sweet, so special. And like, tell me your favorite foods. What do you miss from home? And I'm like,
Right.
I'm going to try to make that for you. And so, I mean, it was just so much fun. And our kids, just became the best of friends. We're still in touch. Her wedding, her babies, her
Oh,
graduation as an
nice.
MD, like, it's just unbelievable.
Wow.
Um, and so I will say, like, you just develop lifelong friendships. And I will say, international, so for the domestic kids that are attending Armbrae, as they get to meet these students, and all of a sudden they're like, I've never met anybody from Nigeria, and I had no idea that's what that was. So for the families, the students, and the greater community, we live in a global world now, right?
Yeah.
And the opportunity, what I want to say, the opportunity to, integrate these students, these children into your home is such a worthwhile endeavor. And I want to say, people do it for the reason around, it would be great to learn more. It would be fantastic to have this child join our family on our trip to Peggy's Cove, all those sorts of things. And honestly, the international kids are so grateful. They really are. I mean, they miss mom and dad for sure,
Yeah,
and they go home on the breaks. But just the concept of being integrated into a Canadian home is very special for them. And
right.
and so I know that the families who are selected to do this, it'll be meaningful. It's really, really worthwhile. And as you said earlier, Suzanne, maybe you do want to try a child for 6 months, before you
Right,
commit. But I think
right.
most families, once they do it, they're like, we absolutely want to stay as part of the program. So,
Yeah, yeah,
that does occur for sure.
yeah. My experience with people who have done it is really that um, it is a game changer for them. And interestingly enough, one of the families that did a homestay for us, who actually is a friend of mine, her daughter years later went to France
Yep.
and
Hmm.
stayed with the family
Yeah,
like many
for
years
sure.
later, and it was unbelievable. Like they
Sure.
opened their, like, it was just really incredible.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just want to say hi. There are some people joining us. There's quite a few people joining us, so thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. We're talking about International Homestay Program. Julie Cameron is with us today to answer questions on Armbrae's homestay program. If you are considering a homestay, this is the information that you want to pay attention to. If you have other questions afterwards, you can call me on my phone below. Connect. That's a WhatsApp number too. You can message me just so that we can keep the connection going. If you are considering being a homestay parent, um, this is something that we've talked a lot about lately. And you mentioned a little bit, but you know, something happens. What does the family do? Who do they
Hmm.
contact? Is there
Hmm.
someone on the ground here that's going to be assisting them?
Hmm. Yeah, thank you. And sure, that would be a concern for anybody. I mean, I would say any medical situation that's an emergency. First of all, your child has full medical insurance and coverage when they're here in Canada, so that's all taken care of. If it was an emergency, you're obviously going to dial your local emergency number and deal with it in that moment. You are truly, the child's parent in absentia in that time.
Right.
However, what I will say is there is an emergency contact number. That emergency contact number is manned 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. There is always someone on that line from ISGC. So the school might be closed, but they do have this hotline. And trust me, I've called them at odd hours over many, many years, and they are always going to pick up. The other thing you should know is perhaps you have a child from Germany and maybe you don't speak German. But they do have a very large team, and so they've got multiple languages on that team. If the parents want to speak with someone to get clarity on the child's situation, they want to speak in German versus English, all possible. And again, we would coordinate all of that. But I would say the feedback here is the child does have medical insurance. Every child that comes in, that is part of the criteria. And then also ISGC that does have a 7 days a week, 24-hour a day emergency contact number if that's what you require. And then there's going to be, sort of a follow-up and communication, and ISGC, their executive team will be involved immediately. If there's anything like that takes place, it takes top urgency, and you will be supported through that process. So that is basically how we handle those sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with the resources that they have. And again, it's, understandable. You've been doing it for 20 years, ISGC. They really have a good pulse on everything that could go wrong if it could go wrong. But yeah, so I think that is, families can be rest assured that they have the support. Um, uh, and does that would that that goes on throughout the whole time that the student is here. It's not just when they arrive and the first couple of weeks. it's available to them throughout the student stay.
Everything is
Yes.
covered during the duration in which the child is there. Flight delays, flight tracking, they're doing all of those sorts of things as well. They're communicating with you just to let you know, but really they are your partner in all that you do. That's not to say that Armbrae is not part of that process,
Yes.
actively involved with them and with the families as well. But they are the overarching organization that looks after all of this for many schools across Canada. And that would be, that can be schools that are public schools, independent schools, private schools, and homestay, including for boarding schools when they go out on things like Christmas or March break. These
Right.
guys just have so much experience in doing all of this. They're very, very good at it. Yeah.
What about, this is a question I get asked a lot. What about the compensation? So, you're providing a room, meals, care. What does the compensation look like for the families?
Yeah, sure. I mean, ultimately, no one would ask you to take a child into your home and not be remunerated for doing
Yes.
so. What I can tell you is the team at Armbrae, there's been very thoughtful conversations around what that level of remuneration is. And we have gone to quite a high point of remuneration for our families and our host families. And the reason we've done that compared to, say, public schools or how they do that, we really would ask of you that you are going to provide an incredible experience for this child. And by that, I mean, attention, detail, cooking, things you might do with your family. There's so many options. But the remuneration that we have set it at is $1,800 per month per child. And so, for example, if a family was going to say, well, I actually have 2 bedrooms here and we'd love to have 2 kids, that would be 1,800 times 2, and that's per month. So just so our families understand, that's the remuneration attached to it. I mean, having said that, I know groceries are expensive.
Yeah.
I know inflation is tough, right? But what I will say is I do believe that $1,800 a month, it certainly sets us apart from other programs. And again, in return for that, we're just looking for, as I believe any of our Armbrae or host families would be who go through the vetting process, they're just delivering a level of customer service and care for this child. That's really the type of families that we're looking to partner with.
Yeah, I think, again, I don't imagine that most people are getting into this because of the
No.
how much money it is, but I think it's nice to know that it's there and that you have the support that will help you make that experience the best that it can be. And I think, I think it's really, we want families who are investing in this, and therefore we want to invest in them because we want this experience to be a positive one for both the student and the families. Um, so the other question that I think I forgot to ask a while back was, um, what about holidays? Do students stay for holidays? Do they go at Christmas? What is the policy around that?
Mm-hmm. Sure, that's a good question and a very interesting one for the families. So typically, the student is going to follow the school calendar. And so what I mean by that is that Christmas, these kids are going home. They're going home to their families, flight coordination, all of that is done in conjunction with ISGC. And they do go home. So you can expect that the child, if you have a child for September to June, they'll be going home at Christmas. And then ultimately, most of the kids will also go home on the March break. If they don't go home on the March break, they might want to do an out trip with ISGC. Their parents might be coming to Canada. That often happens where they themselves will do something over that break. But typically what they do is they will follow the school calendar. I will note that something like, for example, Canadian Thanksgiving, although the child might not attend school for a couple of days over that window, they are in your home. So they're not going home during that period. That's a
Right.
very short break.
Yeah.
And they will, love to be enjoying Canadian Thanksgiving and
Right.
understanding what all of that means. But those are the 2 typical breaks you can expect. Our students who come for example, Brazilians, if they're coming in September till December, they're going home. That's their summer. They're inverted
Right.
on their schedule, and so they're going home for Christmas, and then they begin school. So, but that is what you can expect as a family for sure.
And I think it's so different, you know, per culture. When you're talking about the different breaks in, different countries have different school seasons. So there is an advantage sometimes for that short stay.
Yes.
And it was interesting, and I mentioned this to you the other day when I was talking to an agency from Italy. They were saying that in Italy,
Mhm.
grade 11 is kind of a adventure year for a lot of
Mhm.
Italian students. So they like to spend a year abroad,
Mhm.
and enjoy an experience in Canada, and then they go back and they hit the books in grade 12. But it varies from country to country, which is, it's interesting and very doable for families.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Hello to everyone who's joining us. We have quite a few people joining us now. Just want to make sure that everybody knows we're talking about our International Homestay Program. Armbrae is relaunching our homestay program with ISGC, who is a trusted partner in our homestay program. And this is all under the auspices of trusted advisor Julie Cameron, who's with us tonight answering questions on our homestay program, international recruitment, and just what it takes to become a homestay family and some of the real positives that the students, your family, and the students at Armbrae get to experience if an international student comes to Halifax. And I think Julie, you're getting great feedback from agencies about Halifax, right?
Hmm.
It's a
Hmm.
destination that is attractive in so many different ways, but coastal, really, that the experience of being on the East Coast in a smaller city. So many of these kids come from populations that are just unfathomable for us in Halifax to imagine, but it is attractive.
Very much so. I think for years, Suzanne, so many kids typically would go into Ontario, and there's a lot of schools in Ontario. But I will say things have changed, and so more and more kids now internationally, we see strong interest in the East Coast and in BC. And I think the BC piece really has more to do with the weather. I mean, sure, the
Yeah.
mountains are beautiful, but I want to say, Halifax, like what an incredible place, location. Your location as a school is just so phenomenal,
Mm.
and your community is incredible. I mean, the people coming from Nova Scotia are just so welcoming and very heartwarming. That I can't think that these students, international students coming in and their families just wouldn't have the best possible experience. It's really going to be exciting to have at Armbrae for sure.
And I think you mentioned a little earlier the opportunity for the students to continue on, which is, I think, very attractive to a lot of internationals, to a Canadian university, and just getting, prepared. We work really hard to prepare our international students so that when they are ready to go to university, they are ready. I did when I was at the ISEP conference, which is a international student recruitment conference. One of the people that, or actually two of the people that I met, were students who had studied at an independent school, gone to a Canadian university, and now we're in the business of recruiting
Yeah.
students to come. So there's a lot of great stories out there. I think there's a real benefit to being a part of that story. So families who are considering homestay, please contact this number here, 902-830-1418 if you're interested. Um, Julie, what do you think is like, how does a family give the experience, give this positive experience to a student? What does it take to make a student feel at home
Hmm.
in an international student coming to Canada?
Sure. So, I mean, I think for the student, ultimately, that they have a safe, secure space, and that you know a little bit about their background, and all of that would have been done, through the partnership piece. Reliable Wi-Fi. There is no doubt that any international student or student of the certain ages, how's your Wi-Fi? They want to make
Yeah.
sure that's there. And just taking the time, like, here's when we eat, we sit down at this time, here's where snacks are, help yourself, those sorts of things, and really making the child feel comfortable. I think, taking them to local places, perhaps they're
Right.
attending an Armbrae basketball game, just really
Hmm.
making them, integrating them in. For me, saying to, Gracie, the child that I had from Mexico, tell me your favorite things that you like to eat. What do you miss? How can I
Yeah.
make that? I will Google that.
Yeah.
I will try to make
Yeah.
this for you. I mean, you would think that it was the best mole sauce she's ever had, and I'm sure it wasn't. But, ultimately, she was so happy. And I think just really caring, about these children as if they're your own. That is the biggest tip, I would say. When she went home, I was really sad. Like, I really, really miss this child. But thankfully, through technology, we've stayed close all of these years. But I think the families really just, taking this child in, treating them as their own, getting to understand. If there is a language barrier, please know this. Like, some of these kids will come, English is not their first language. Maybe they're in EAL at Armbrae as well. Again, ISGC has so many languages available for us to tap into. If there's a miscommunication or something's not right, we will tackle that, and we will get resolution for you. So please know that's totally possible. But I would just say, integrate them as much as you possibly can. Ask questions, and if you're not sure, just say, "Help me understand, because I'm not entirely sure." And they will. They really will. They'll appreciate that you asked.
I think too, I was talking about this yesterday, and we did it as part of our promotion because Yuxuan, who is from China, here studying at Mount St. Vincent, we've had a lot of conversations since he's been here, and it really does. We talk a lot about culture, and he's made my lunch several times for me, and it's there's something really special about that. You can
Mhm.
really have a connection over the simplest things, but yet
Mhm.
we're talking about how our government works. He's telling me how his government works. So there's a lot that can be, even for students who are younger, they want people to find out about their country and their culture and their traditions. So we
Mhm.
can learn from each other. It's a great way to bridge that
Mhm.
global gap that, we see so much today. We're global in our contact and in our consumerism, but when it comes to knowing really about other people's countries, we're probably not that educated, and it would be very positive experience to bring that student into your home.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. What about visa and other
Mhm.
documents? The family doesn't have to worry about that.
No, absolutely not. Thanks, Suzanne. It's a great question, and to be very honest, the process can differ just depending on the duration of time that the child's going to be in Canada, what country they're actually coming from, and so we actually have the expertise of ISGC, who does guardianship, who does study permit processing, visa processing. They do all of that. And so our families, our Armbrae families, our host families here in Halifax, you do not need to be concerned about that. That is all in very capable hands. We actually have on staff through ISGC, they have an immigration lawyer who does all of this paperwork, all of this vetting, as a case accredited school, as Armbrae. Again, those students that are coming, as far as financial statements and all those sorts of things that they provide to IRCC, very valid, very reputable. And so a student being declined a study permit or a visa is quite rare, I want to say, because it's done so well. So when they
Right.
see that the application is stamped by an immigration lawyer, it's almost as if it goes into another tier or status, if you will, on the vetting process. So, but please know, our families are not responsible for that. Do not need to worry about all of that. ISGC, Armbrae, us, we coordinate everything attached to what the student needs to enter Canada legally. So all of those things are looked after.
Great, Julie. Before we finish, for an Armbrae family who's intrigued by perhaps you're considering this, um, what would you say to them? What's the the biggest piece of advice from this information session that you could give them?
Thanks, Suzanne. So I would say for a couple of the families who maybe joined a little bit later, I do believe this recording will be available. Suzanne would be able to share it if you had more questions. So I would say it would be good for you as a family, chat about it as a family first. Do you think this might work for you? And if you think that you are interested, please know that by reaching out does not mean you're committed. We're looking for the program to be a certain size, but it's not massive. We really are looking for really supportive, carefully vetted families that have a strong interest in why they would want to be a homestay family and matching you with a great child. That's really what we're looking to do. But I would say, it is an opportunity that is unique. It will not only enhance your family, your children coming to school, potentially if they're attending Armbrae with this child. Again, just forging friendships and relationships that are very unique and different. I remember one of my day kids saying, I can't believe that I have a friend from Rwanda. I've learned so much about Rwanda.
Yeah.
And again, it's just such a unique opportunity to do it. Just by expressing interest and contacting, Suzanne, will help you through the next steps and go through all of that. You are not committed for a long term. It's really what works for you and works for your family for the period of time in which it does. And we are here to support. So I want to say this program that we're introducing and launching, I really think is so incredible. You will be well supported. Your child, we hope they're placing them into a great family, and you're just bringing in an incredible a new human to your family to integrate and to work alongside. I think it'll be massively rewarding for you. So we're excited about it and hope you are too.
So we're looking for questions. We do have a couple, Julie, right
Sure.
away. But if anybody does have questions, please write in our comments, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. The first question was, when can a person begin?
Yeah, thank you. So right now, as school just is about to start, most international students, just so you know, depending on their study permit processing time, it can take anywhere, I'd say on average, 6 weeks to 3 months to be processed. So we're not looking for students we're not looking for families for this September. We would be looking potentially for families to start as soon as January, my apologies, 2027. And that would be for any mid-year entries, international students that we might take in. I would say the vast majority of what we're looking for, and our families and our agency partners are keen to know is, how many host families do you have? Can we, do we get to meet them? Tell me their background. And as I say, you'll all have a portfolio. But that would begin in September 2027. So likely the soonest we'd see any international kids would be January 2027. But if you are interested, please let us know, because we have to go through this full process with you. And then you just never know. We can get an application tomorrow and, perhaps the child is going to come in October. So you just don't know. But I would say if you are keen and interested, please be in touch. Then we'll get things rolling, and we'd like to be able to do that with you. So thank you.
Yeah, because obviously the vetting and getting your criminal
Takes
record
time.
check and all those things. If you don't have those things, they take a few days or a few weeks. So yeah, if you are interested, contact us right away, and we'll get the things in motion. The other question I had was like the medical information, like allergies, that would be provided by the family and ISGC and ourselves to the host family.
Absolutely. So any sort of medications that are taken, any sort of allergies, medical history, background, anything like that on the child that you should know about. This child's coming into your home. So ultimately, anything that we know about, you will know about. And so it would be critically important that all of that is shared. If the child, has an EpiPen, or they, they need to see an orthodontist when they're here 3 times, those sorts of things, that can happen. So please know anything like that, we would facilitate and help with all of that.
Now, this is a really interesting question. It's
Mhm.
does the family get to select the student?
Yeah, so I don't know. It's not like we would put a board up with 30 kids,
Yes.
I want to say, and you
Yeah.
say, I'll take that child. No, not really. What we're really looking for is we might say to you, for example, we have 3 children. Here's a brief bio on these kids. You can always say, you might have signed up, but you might say, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Can you take our name off this? We'd like to be considered later. But as I say, like, I think the information you share with us and tell us, if you have a grade 10 girl and you're interested in someone who's going into grade 10 or grade 11, that's great. You might have a grade 12 child, for example. You don't necessarily maybe want a child coming from grade 8 from Mexico. I don't know. But all I want to say is it has to be a fit. So we'll do everything we can to make sure that there is a fit and an alignment. And if you do have preferences, you can share all of that with us on your family bio. You might say, well, we have 2 dogs and they're the love of our life. And you might have a child that says, I'm so scared of dogs, I can't be with a family with a
Right.
dog. Well, there's not a
Right.
fit, right? So we deal with things like that. So, yes, is there a review? But as far as what I'll refer to as house placement, and kids up on a board, and I'll take that child, we'll
Right.
do whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe not. You just let us know what it is that might be helpful or a good fit for
Right.
your family, for
So
sure.
it's finding what the family's looking for and what
Sure.
the international students family is looking for, and making that
Yep.
match.
Absolutely.
I know in the past we've had student families who've said to us, their child was really passionate about a certain culture. And
Sure.
so we tried in the
Sure.
past to, get
Mhm.
students who were from that country. Um, but it doesn't always work out that way. So,
Yeah,
but I think we try our best to match
we
the
will.
families. And what about this is another question that just came up. The language piece.
Hmm.
If the family is coming from an international destination and they're
Hmm.
staying with a family who speaks that language, how does
Hmm.
that work? Is that a problem? Like, do parents of the international families not want that because they want their kid to learn English, or how does that work?
So I'm going to say that could be a yes or no. For
Yeah.
example, like I will say one thing that's really attractive about Armbrae to international families and educational consultants is that, the vast majority of the children at the school are, they reside locally. They're Canadian,
Yes.
right? Or immigrants to Canada.
Yeah.
So they really like that because they're sending their child here. Sometimes, they want them really to focus on English. So, but the family might say, well, we love that they're actually with, we might have a Jewish child and we have a Jewish host family. Well, they love
Yeah.
that that's integrated. We might
Yeah.
have, a family from China who wants to host an international student from China. We would convey to the family, is
Yeah.
this what you want, or would you prefer a different placement? So some families might want that, others may not. Like I will
Right.
say, in my years of experience, I hear it both ways. And so
Yes.
really we're going to have to do a little bit of digging. I wouldn't say that it discounts you at all. No, definitely not. It might be helpful. It might be something the family truly wants.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to ask some more questions and make sure we have the
Yeah.
right fit, right placement for everybody to be happy.
For sure. Any other questions, you, Shwan?
No, no, no. There's
Um,
some.
there was
Let
a
me.
question the other day that someone asked, a family that was inquiring early. I can't remember what it was. Um, but anyway, if you have any questions, our phone number is there, 902-830-1418. You can go to our website, armbrae.ns.ca. You can contact Julie or myself at admissions@armbrae.ns.ca, and we can answer any of your questions. Um, And I don't know if you have any other information, Julie, that you want to share that we didn't get to today, or
Thanks, Suzanne. I think you facilitated a lot of the questions. This really just is a webinar. Again, the recording, as you get the link, you'll be able to review it. If you joined us a little bit later, we're here to answer your questions. We're very happy to. Thank you for considering reaching out and making a child as part of your family. And really, it's been a pleasure to be able to have time with you this evening. So from my perspective, thank you so much. We look forward to future engagement with you if you feel that's the right fit.
yes, thanks so much, Julie. It's been
Pleasure.
wonderful to talk to you this evening. I think as I learn more about this program, because it is new, ISGC is a new partnership for us. I'm really excited by the potential of our families having the opportunity to meet some great international students and have an experience that will probably last a lifetime. As you said, your own experience is that you still make that connection with your homestay student, and I imagine that she still talks quite a bit about her experience. So, but thank you so much, Julie. And
Pleasure.
again, we'll talk again soon. Our podcast is on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And so if you want to find out more about Armbrae and admissions, you can go to any of our platforms or contact me at this phone number. Thanks so much and have a great night.
Thank you.
Or still has to repeat it again.
Okay. We're just going to sign off now. Just want to say goodbye to those who have joined us this evening. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call at 902-830-1418. Thanks so much, guys. See you later.
I know.